Hillary Clinton has been caught lying. You guys remember when Donald Trump ran for president in 2016? These allegations started coming out, these lies that, he was basically a Kremlin agent, and they made up all sorts of stories, really just, it's a spider web of lies. And here, look at this headline from CNN. So it says Hillary Clinton personally approved a plan to share Trump-Russia allegation with the press in 2016. And this is according to who? Her former campaign manager. Oh, this is a bombshell, man. So Hillary Clinton personally approved her campaign's plans in fall 2016 to share information with a reporter about an uncorroborated alleged server back channel between Donald Trump and a top Russian bank. This is according to her former campaign manager who testified in federal court on Friday. So Robbie Mook said he attended a meeting with senior campaign officials where they learned about strange cyber activity that suggested a relationship between the Trump organization and Alpha Bank, which is based in Moscow. The group decided to share the information with a reporter, and Mook subsequently ran that decision by Clinton herself. Quote, "We discussed it with Hillary," Mook said, later adding that she agreed with the decision. So a campaign staffer later passed the information to a reporter from Slate magazine, which the campaign hoped the reporter would, quote, "vet it out and write what they believe is true." So just to be clear, so you're not confused. Basically, the senior campaign managers, the people at the top of Hillary Clinton's campaign for president, they basically leaked this uncorroborated, unconfirmed, unsubstantiated story to the press on purpose. They passed it down the hierarchy, as they say. Campaign staffer passed it to a reporter from Slate magazine, and they hoped that it would, cause ripples. And here's the report from Slate magazine. So it worked. Slate magazine, they took the bait and they wrote this article in 2016. And look at the headline. It says, "Was a Trump server communicating with Russia?" Oh God. So here we go. Right? This is how it worked. And Slate published a story. So I just showed you that, right? And after that story came out, Clinton tweeted about it and posted a news release that said, quote, this secret hotline may be the key to unlocking the mystery of Trump's ties to Russia. So here's her tweet, right? This is from November 2016, right before, a few days before the election. And she says, computer scientists have apparently uncovered a covert server linking the Trump organization to a Russian-based bank. Wow. Really funny. So the testimony came in the criminal trial of Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussmann, who is being prosecuted by the Trump-era special counsel John Durham. Durham is investigating potential misconduct tied to the FBI's Trump-Russia probe. The trial has shed light on the dark arts of political opposition research and how campaigns dig up dirt and plant stories in the press. Federal investigators ultimately concluded there weren't any improper Trump Alpha cyber links. So basically, this whole story about the Trump back channel server to Alpha Bank in Moscow, it's just a bunch of baloney. It's not real. It's fake. And the Clinton campaign, at best, they probably, they thought that it's unconfirmed and unsubstantiated, but they leaked it anyway, hoping that it would, achieve this desired effect of being disseminated in the press, conditioning people that Trump works with or has benefits, has ties with the Russians, right? So basically attaching sort of a stigma, about him that, he's a commie, he's working with the Russians. This is McCarthyism in a way, right? It really reminds you of the Cold War, especially during the Red Scare, the second Red Scare. Apparently, I thought the McCarthyist era was the original Red Scare. Turns out it wasn't the first time. That was the second Red Scare. Right now it's the third, right? Everything Russian is banned and so on. But that's what it reminds you of. There's a lot of stigma left over from the Cold War, isn't there? Now, Sussmann, again, who is Sussmann over here? He was a Clinton campaign lawyer. So Sussmann passed along the same information about Trump and Alpha Bank to an FBI official in September 2016. Prosecutors charged him with lying to the FBI and alleged that he falsely told the FBI official that he wasn't there for a client, even though he was there on Clinton's behalf. Sussmann has pleaded not guilty and maintains that he went to help the FBI as a concerned citizen. Oh man, that's really funny. Yeah, I'm just telling on this guy because I'm a concerned citizen. I promise, nothing to do with Hillary. They're really funny. They're a bunch of jokers. Oh man. So Sussmann is saying the Clinton campaign wouldn't have wanted him to meet with the FBI in the first place. No man, I can just imagine the conversation and Hillary sitting there and telling him to go do it, just the way she told him the others to leak that story. Come on, man. Like, do you take us for suckers? So Mook and another top Clinton campaign official, General Counsel Mark Elias, reinforced that assertion this week on the witness stand. They both testified they didn't authorize or direct Sussmann to go to the FBI with the explosive Trump tip. Mook said Friday that he didn't even know who Sussmann was during the 2016 campaign and would have opposed an FBI meeting. Quote, going to the FBI does not seem like an effective way to get information out to the public, Mook said. You do that through the media, which is why the information was shared with the media. I like the sentence because it's so funny. He's basically saying like, well, you know, destroying someone's reputation is better to do that through the media than the FBI because it's more effective. So, you know, early in the week, Elias told the jury that he didn't authorize Sussmann's meeting with the FBI, which occurred on September 19th, 2016. Elias said he hadn't learned about the fateful meeting between Sussmann and then FBI General Counsel James Baker until Sussmann was indicted. In addition to going to the FBI, Sussmann provided the technical internet data to a reporter from the New York Times who was working on a story that the FBI spiked after learning about it from Sussmann. A staffer from Fusion GPS, an opposition research firm hired by the Clinton campaign, testified that she met with a Slate reporter to discuss the Trump Alpha allegations. Let's see over here. This is a statement from Jake Sullivan. So right now, Jake Sullivan is the national security advisor for Joe Biden, right? So basically, this statement over here, what does it say? He's basically repeating the lie that there's a connection between Trump and Russia. And, you know, he openly lies about it. And this is what is so crazy. Like, you could fail upwards. You don't get punished for that. You fail upwards. You become the national security advisor for Joe Biden. Wonderful. It's amazing, isn't it? What a city. Wow. So I just wanted to show you this because in the last couple of years we've really seen the development and the dawn of a third Red Scare. You know, if someone disagrees with you, just call them a Kremlin asset. If they say something you don't like, just say that's a Kremlin talking point. You know, it's a really cheesy, corny, cheap, lazy way to silence anyone you don't like. Just call them a Russian agent. You know, that's it. That's all it takes. And what does that mean? You know, when you say, this is what I don't like, they give a negative connotation to a country's name. That's not nice. That's very xenophobic and ignorant. But that's where we are. And it's not just an American thing. It's also in Europe, right? The madness, I don't know what to call it. It's just Russophobia. It's a Red Scare like we had in the past, in the 50s and then near World War I. You know, anything remotely related to Russia, not even communism, right? It's nothing to do with Soviet Union. Just Russia. The country Russia is banned. You know, Russian athletes are banned. Klitschko, earlier I saw this video. He was basically saying that the committee of the Olympics should ban the Russian team. I mean, this is incredible, right? You have a top boxer saying that other athletes should be banned just for being born Russian. What is this madness? You know, and it was like with Wimbledon. First, they said all Russian and Belarusian players have to denounce Putin and the war in Ukraine, and then they'll be allowed to compete, which is already ridiculous enough. Because, if you say Putin is a dictator, and then you're asking a famous Russian athlete to denounce Putin, don't you think Putin is going to go after that person? You tell us that Putin went after Navalny, and Putin goes after all his dissidents. He's killed them all. So you're basically putting these athletes in harm's way for what? Right? Because you said he's a dictator, right? You said he's dangerous and he's silenced. He goes after dissidents. So you are putting this person in danger. And then you have athletes who did it. They condemned Putin. And guess what? Wimbledon then decide, actually, no Russian players can compete. Whether they condemn Putin or not, no Russians allowed. This is ridiculous. And, as a result, they actually, the Wimbledon won't count for any points. I'll get into that later. But my point is that you are seeing such petty and ridiculous and infantile things taking place. The banning Russian athletes, banning Russian cats from cat competitions, banning Russian trees from. I mean, this is absurd. This is absurd. You have orchestras removing Russian music composed by Russians from their set. They refuse to. I mean, this is madness. From composers that are dead. Well, I don't even know what to call this. And so, this is the culmination of this kind of crap that I just showed you right now with Slate magazine and the Clinton campaign lying. I mean, again, I'm not saying it wasn't already there, but this is left over from the Cold War. This, negative connotation. Oh, you're a commie. Oh, you're sympathizing with the Russians, blah, blah, blah. But this really started to take it into, turbo mode. That Trump is working with the Russians. And again, man, I have no love for Trump whatsoever, right? Like he's, for me, they are just as bad as each other, right? Trump killing Soleimani, stealing Syria, and all. This guy is a maniac. Maniac is perhaps not the right word. He's basically just same old. He's a bit more loudmouth than the other presidents, but same behavior, absolutely same behavior. So, for me, I really don't care about Trump. What I care about and what is trying to highlight the phenomenon that has been taking place in Europe and the United States during the last years, where you have a serious people with a lot of power, presidential candidates in the United States like Hillary Clinton and her staff, like Jake Sullivan, who's now the national security advisor, making outlandish, ridiculous claims to slander and slam their opponents. I mean, this is really like McCarthyism, because they would take an actress or an actor from Hollywood and be like, do you have sympathies with the Russians? Do you sympathize with them? Are you a communist? And then they make up some outlandish allegation and ruin their career. And do the same thing with politicians. Just make up some random claim and ruin their career, take away their job, degrade them publicly. They would do this publicly, right? They would have these meetings in Congress. Really horrible. And so this is kind of an extension of that, where you can just make up whatever you want. Even leak it to the press and go to the FBI, all in the name of getting into power and using these old McCarthyist tropes. It's quite ridiculous, honestly. And you're seeing a lot of people now that are being prosecuted, as we looked at in the article. Sussmann, what's his name? Mook, yeah, Robbie Mook. So I mean, this is quite a scandal, and a lot of people went along with this. Even to this day, you have people who think Trump and Putin are friends. Russia sanctioned a bunch of people, which I'll get into in a moment, in the next segment, and they didn't sanction Trump, and so people are taking that as further proof that they're buddies. They're so childish. My goodness, they're so childish. You have a million ways to criticize Trump. Literally a million ways. Millions of criticisms that you can make. This Russia shit is not one of them. And you know why they don't make the other criticisms? Because they apply to Hillary Clinton and to the Democrats. Looting Syrian oil. Joe Biden is still doing that. Right? The Democrats are still doing that. So they're not going to make this criticism because they act in the same way. They behave in the same manner. They are just as guilty of this behavior, of this criminal behavior. Occupying other countries. Again, Democrats, same thing. So the list is endless. I'm not going to go through everything right now, but you know my opinion. I don't think it's just an opinion. I think it's very factual that there's no difference whatsoever, especially if you're on the receiving end of U.S. imperialism, Western imperialism. There's no difference between Democrats and Republicans, and it's incredible. It's incredible to see this. Right now, I think it's gotten even worse, and the precursor to that was certainly Hillary Clinton's campaign. Wow. So again, just pay attention when you hear something like, "Oh, Assange is he's working. WikiLeaks working with the Russians. Trump this and that." That's ridiculous. We're not in the 1950s. Grow a pair. Stop being spineless, and use your brain and speak some sense. Speak on some real stuff. Not this made up fairy tale nonsense. We're not in the Cold War. Russia is not the enemy. Russians are nice people. Americans are nice people. Stop this degrading nonsense. Let's try to find some humanity in each other and empathy and stop this nonsense Red Scare that we're in right now. Really, it's awfully egregious. And we can't go on like this, man. Really. So I'd be wary when you hear those things because, nowadays you want to shut somebody up. All you have to do is make allegations like this. Oh, you're a Russian agent, blah, 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 blah. Come on, grow up. Seriously.